Hello viewers, hope all of you are doing great. I'm going to create a video series where I will be showing you how you can write and execute 8086 programs. To write 8086 programs, you need a set of softwares first. You need a set of softwares to be installed in a computer first. Once it is done, then you can actually write and execute execute 8086 programs. So in this part of the video, I'll be showing you what are the softwares you need and from where actually you can download and install them in your computer. Okay, then the first software that we'll be needing is called as Turbo Assembler. It is an assembler basically that allows you to compile, link, and execute 8086 programs. And how you can get it? To do that, first thing that you have to do is you open Google. And there you write TASM for Windows. As soon as you write TASM for Windows, it should show you this particular link on the screen. You click on that link, it will take you to this page, and from here you can actually download that TASM software, which you can use to compile, link, and execute 8086 programs. So you should see this particular link. If you simply click on this link, it might not download the installer. So what you have to do is to install the to download the installer. I'm sorry, you have to right click on this particular link and you have to click on Save Link As. As soon as you do that, this particular window, this window will appear. Here you see here the type is application. It means it's going to save this file as an exe file. If you click on save, in fact, one exe file will be downloaded. Now see here, it is showing that this is an exe file, cannot be downloaded securely. I mean, this warning message might come. So what you have to do is you have to click on this skip. As soon as you click on this skip, it will actually download that exe file. Now I'm showing it in folder, and then you can see here. See, actually I have downloaded it multiple numbers of time. That's why it's coming 3 times. But if you download it, these exe files should be downloaded in your computer. To install TASM, you just have to double click on this exe file. As soon as you do that, this pop-up window will appear that will ask you like whether you want to install it or not. Then you click on yes, it will be installed. Since I already have installed it in my computer, I will not install it. But in your case, if you have not installed, then you have to click on yes. As soon as you click on yes, then it will be installed in your computer. Now, once it is installed, then you should see in your C drive. Now, see, suppose you have installed that TASM software in a computer, then what you have to do is you have to open your PC, that is my computer, this PC. There in C drive, you should see a folder named TASM 1.4. This folder should be created automatically once you install that software. Now inside that folder, if you open, then these subfolders might appear, and here among these subfolders, this TASM folder is of importance. Now if you open this folder already contains some some pre-written assembly level language programs, sample programs. I'll come to that point, but my main point here is that whatever the code, whatever the programs that you write, all these programs you are going to write inside this particular folder. Okay, don't worry if it till now if it doesn't make if it is not making much sense to you, but don't worry. But up to this point, things should be clear that you have downloaded that assembler, you have installed that assembler, and after installing, you verified whether inside your C drive TASM 1.4 is created or not, and inside that this TASM folder is there or not. If these things are there, it means you are on the right track. Once you have installed everything and once these things are verified, then what is the next thing that you have to do is after installation, automatically this icon should appear in your desktop. Okay, like once you install this TASM then this particular icon will appear. This shortcut will appear in your desktop, on your desktop. Now, if you double click, now if you want to open the application, you just have to double click on this, on this icon. Now, as soon as you double click on that icon, you will see these sort of command prompt window will appear on your screen. Yeah, it will appear on your screen. Now here you should see some messages are written, like some hints are there, some help menu. This is actually help menu. You can consider it that way. See, edit means, see here, for compiling your files, your file name .asm, use without quotation. For example, for compiling add.asm file, you have to write tasm add.asm. And for linking, you have to write tlink, and for debugging, you have to write td. I'll be showing you now. So from here, actually, you're going to compile your assembly code, and you are going to execute your assembly code. Okay, you understood, like what you have installed the assembler. You understood from where actually you can compile and execute the program. But the main question here is now how to write the program, where to write the program. Yeah, that's a question. Now, see, to write any program, you need one text editor. Now, when I say you need one text editor, then you might be thinking, okay, then Notepad is also a text editor. Will it work? Yes, it will work actually. If you want, you can use Notepad to write your programs. If you want, you can use any text editor to write your programs. But there are some specific IDEs which are very much useful to write code, in a very comfortable way. One of the such um, IDE is Visual Studio IDE. I'll be using that Visual Studio IDE to actually write the code. Okay, but that is my own preference. If you want, you can use Notepad editor to write the code, or what you can do is you can use these command prompt editor like DOS editor to actually write the code. That is your default option here. So what you can do is, if you want, you can actually create a file in this way. Say you want to write a new program. So what you will be doing is you will be writing edit. Say you call the program as, say, program 001.asm. See here, .asm is the extension for 8086 program files. Like, say, for example, if you're writing a C program, then the extension of the file will be .c. If you're writing a C++ program, then the extension of the source code file will be .cpp. That way, if you're writing an assembly 8086 assembly program, then the extension of the file will be .asm. So suppose you want to you want to create a new file where you're going to write it, where you are actually planning to write a 8086 program, then uh, you will be writing edit program 001.asm. Program 001 is just the file name. You can keep the file name anything as you want. If you simply write this thing and press enter, what it will do is it will open this window. Now see here, this is actually the sort of command prompt text editor. Here you can write the program. So for example, just let me write here a small program. Mm, I'll come to I'll tell you actually the details, like how you can write the program, what things you need to how you write the program. That programming part I'll be showing you in a moment. But right now, what am I focusing in is like the editor part, like which editor you can use. So the first option that you have is this default editor that comes with this uh, uh, this TASM. So to make use of that, so for the time being, I'm not writing any programs. What am I doing is I'm simply typing some text here, okay? Like, like something I have written here. And then what I'll do is I'll click on this file save. And suppose I have done editing my program and writing my program, then if I want to, quit, then what I'll do is I'll click on this file menu, and then I'll click on this exit. And as soon as I click on exit, then whatever I wrote in that, in that text editor, those things will be saved. If I save, then obviously they will be there. Now see, let's see whether this proc001.asm is created or not. Okay, first we'll verify it from Windows browser. What I mean by that is I'm pressing now Windows key to exit this full screen mode. I'm pressing the Windows key. Okay, as soon as I press the Windows key, the window will become smaller. You can see here, this is actually it will exit the full screen mode. Okay, now what we did in our previous step is I wrote edit proc001.asm. It means if this file is already there, then it will open the file. Otherwise it will create a file whose name will be proc001.asm. Let's see whether it is and where it will be created. It will be created inside this TASM folder. Okay, let's go to the TASM folder. It will be inside TASM 1.4 TASM. See here, inside TASM C. Inside C drive, you will be having TASM 1.4, and inside that you'll be having this TASM folder. And here I just created one file, proc001.asm. This particular file I created. Okay, and let me group them by type. Now here are my ASM file. Now this file I just have created. You see here, 28th of April 2022, 12:33. Yeah, I'm recording this video at midnight, but anyhow, uh, these this file is created. Okay, now if I right click on this file, and then if I click on open with notepad, see, I can choose any one of these programs, but I'm going to choose notepad actually. uh, Here, yeah, notepad, and I'm clicking on OK. You can see that, okay, these are the lines that I wrote when I created this file. So that way you should now, okay, now suppose now I erase these lines from notepad. I'm going to, like, I'm editing the content of the file now from notepad. Okay, here I erase those lines and I write a new line here. Say for example, okay, this is the new, see here, this is not a program. I'm just showing you how you can edit the content of a file. Once you are clear with this part, then we'll go for the actual programming part. Okay, this is the new version of prog prog001.asm. Just I wrote some lines here, and I'll click on file save, and then I'll be clicking on file exit. I saved the file. I closed the file. And now what I did, what I'm going to do is I'm going to again, I'll go to this particular window. Let it be in, like, it's not full screen mode. It is like sort of half screen mode, or whatever the mode you want to call it. Let it be in this way only. If you want to make it full screen, then what you have to do? Okay, I'm not sure what you have to do to make it full screen. What you can do is you can close and you can reopen it. That will certainly open it in again in full screen mode. But right now that's not our main concern, right? So what we want to do is we want to see whether whatever the editing that we did using Notepad, whether those things are reflected, when we open the file in using this edit command. Okay, edit. I'll be writing here proc001.asm. As soon as I press enter, you can see that, okay, now it is opening actually the same file. This is the new version of proc001.asm. I want to quit. I'll be clicking on file, and then I'll be clicking on exit. So it should give you the sense now that you can actually write the program either by making use of this inbuilt editor. How we can actually open that editor, just by writing the command edit and the name of the file. See here, if the file is already there, then it will open the file, or if the file is not there, then it will create the file. See here, right now if you see here, I do not have any file, any ASM file whose name is, say, XYZ, right? You can see it here. I do not have it. Now if I write edit xyz.asm, then it will actually create a file whose name is edit whose name will be xyz.asm. I created the file, I clicked on exit, done. Now, as soon as I do that, you should be able to see that here one file will be, if I refresh this xyz, I didn't save it most probably. That's why it's not created. Let's try it one more time. I'm clicking on edit xyz .asm and I'm clicking on file. I'm clicking on save, done, and then I'm exiting. Now, after that, see here, when you exit, you might feel like, okay, your mouse cursor is not coming. So if you feel like that, what you do is you press the Windows key from your keyboard. If you press Windows key, your mouse cursor will again appear on the screen. Now see here, these XYZ ASM is actually created. So what is the moral of the story now? The moral of the story is that to write 8086 program, to write, to assembly code, you can actually manage using the notepad. You can use any text editor. That's the moral of the story. The text editor that comes with this TASM software, or you can use notepad editor, or you can use any other sophisticated sophisticated IDEs for your coding. So in this demonstration or in this video series, I am not going to use these default blue screen editor, or that we can that we can start by writing this edit command, or I'm not going to use, neither I'm going to use this notepad editor. So then what am I going to use? I'm going to use actually one very sophisticated IDE for coding. That IDE actually supports many different programming languages, like say x86 coding you can do, or you can do PHP coding. You can do what like and all these different programming languages are supported actually. PHP and x86 programming, or C programming, and all these different programming programming code you can write in that IDE, using that IDE. So the name of that IDE is Visual Studio Code. So what you do is you again open Google, and there you write Visual Studio Code. It's coming. You press enter, then this link should appear. You click on that particular link, and from here you can download it based on your operating system, and you can install it. This is a quite straightforward approach actually. Now, once you see here, all these different programming languages are supported here. You can actually write, code for all these different programming languages like Python or C++, or you know PHP and all. Okay, so once you have installed that Visual Studio Code editor, now see, let me remind you one thing here, that this Visual Studio Code editor will be using only to edit the code, or only to write the code. As I said, that code you can write actually using Notepad, or also you can write using the inbuilt editor there, that you can invoke using edit command, as I showed you. Again, this is just we are using for for comfort actually. It gives you comfort when you write code in Visual Studio Code. Actually, you will feel it. You will feel much better like typing your code in Visual Studio than when you type your code in that blue color blue color text editor, edit text editor, or that notepad text editor. Okay, having said so, suppose if people have installed this Visual Studio Code, then what will happen is you should see, once it is installed, then you can open Visual Studio Code by writing Visual Studio Code like this, and this app should appear. If you click on this app, then it should open, and it should look something like this. Okay, now by default it should look something like this. Now if you now want to write 8086 code from Visual Studio Code, then what you have to do is, the first thing that you have to do is you have to open the folder where you want to keep your files. And as I said a few minutes back, that all the programs, all the 8086 ASM code that you write, you will be storing it inside C drives. See here, where you'll be storing it. You'll be storing it in C drives, TASM 1.4, and inside this TASM folder, right? So that particular folder, first you have to open from this Visual Studio. So for that reason, what you have to do is, first thing is, in your search bar, you just suppose you have installed Visual Studio Code, then you just write Visual Studio Code. This app will appear. You click on that app. Now this app will be opened, and this page, I mean, your screen should look more or less like this. And after that, you click on File, and then you click on Open Folder, and then you go to C, your PC, I mean this PC, and then C drive, and then TASM 1.4, and then TASM. Select the folder. Done. Right now, don't worry about this p1.php. I was writing some PHP code, I guess. But anyhow, that's a different thing. Okay. Now, once you open the TASM folder, then by default, when you install, I think some of the ASM code will already be there. Okay. Here, actually, you see all these ASM files are actually ASM codes. Most probably, I have written them. Some of them were already there when I installed them, and some of them I actually wrote later on. Okay. But anyhow, don't worry about it. I'll be showing you how to write code from scratch actually. So for that reason, you don't need to worry about the existing files. Okay. Then having said so, what are the things now we have? We have installed, the first thing that you have to do is you have to install these TASM 1.4 like an TASM 1.4 assembler, so that you can actually compile and link and execute your assembly level code. See here, you can use other softwares also, like I think 8086 emulator is there where you can actually compile and execute 8086 programs. But in this tutorial, I'll be using this particular software. I think it is very commonly used, and it's quite easy to actually understand. But I don't say that others are not easy. They are also as equally easy. I mean, whatever I say with respect to this particular software, all these things will be valid for other assemblers also. Okay, because ultimately we are doing 8086 programs, and ultimately you are going to learn 8086 instructions and programs, how to write, what are the different instructions there in 8086 for 8086 microprocessor, and how we can make use of those instructions to make some useful programs. That is our main goal. Okay, and what assembler you use, what editor you use, that really doesn't make much of the differences. But for this demonstration, I'll be using this assembler as our as the assembler to compile and execute 8086 programs, and also I'll be using this Visual Studio Code to write the programs there. Okay, up to this point, if things are done, then in the next part, we'll be writing our first 8086 program.